This month, we're trying to appreciate what we have right now and not overlook the moments and the people that we experience every day. One thing we all have a tendency to take for granted is our spouse and not really appreciate them as we should.
Studio 5 relationship coach Matt Townsend is here to help us right that wrong. So our partner who we rely on each and every day, who we love so much, we've committed our lives to in many cases,
forever.
We take them for granted?
Yes. Can you believe that? Because we don't even know what that means. Like, do you even really think we know exactly what they think is taking us for granted? Like me, if my wife doesn't understand everything that I'm thinking in my head that she should do to love me, then she's taking me for granted. It's a very tricky thing because most of us aren't informed.
Right.
We don't even know fully how to appreciate our spouse.
We haven't had those conversations. We don't know how they want to.
And we've had the fights about, like, you never touch me. So we think, well, if I just touch him, he'll shut up. But you know what? It's not just that. It's other things. So we're going to define what appreciation is. Then once you know the definition, guess what you can do?
Appreciate him better?
Boom! Appreciate. You don't need it. You're newlywed. So here we go. Here's the definition of appreciate. Appreciate. Verb.
Love it.
Number one, to be grateful or thankful for somebody or something. For example, they appreciated his thoughtfulness. So now think of this, back to your partner. Do you feel like your partner is grateful and thankful for you? What would we need to know, or what would we do in order to make somebody feel like that we're thankful for what they do?
Well, you'd say it, you'd express it.
Good. What else would we do?
Is that enough? Is there a way to show that then, too?
I would show it. We could talk about it. We could write it, right? We could actually make a list of 100 things you've done for me in the last years that I probably have never thanked you for. And I would sit down and make a list of 100 things, and I'd sit them down right there, and I'd tell them everything that I'm thankful for.
Now, I bet couples, when you give them that assignment, right, in coaching, they might say, I don't know if I have 100 things.
I don't have 100 things.
But do you find as you start to focus on those things, the list comes more naturally?
And then you start getting into things that actually you're not even sure you're thankful for, but you actually are. Like, I'm thankful that my wife is frugal with our money. But I always call her names about that. But when I actually had to think about it, I actually am grateful she's careful with the money. So when we force ourselves to get into the nitty-gritty, by the way, you could just simply say 3 things a day today that my partner did that made me feel grateful.
Like a gratitude journal about your
And I would actually tell them to them or write them on the mirror in the bathroom. 3 things I loved about today, and write them down. That very thought is going to make me feel more appreciated. And by the way, I can see it, I can hear it, I can read the list, I can touch it.
I was just visiting my sister and brother-in-law last weekend, and they had bought this chalkboard that actually, it's a cute little, it's locally made actually.
Is it a knick-knack?
Yeah, it's a knick-knack, if you will. It says things I love about, and you fill in the blank. And they rotated writing things in, and it's hanging right there in the kitchen. And immediately you felt a feeling in that room, right? When you read those words.
See how easy that is? One definition, we show gratitude and thankfulness. Second definition is what? Did anybody see it? Because I didn't see it.
Is it to value or regard highly?
That's it. So think about it. If you appreciate something, you value it, you regard it highly. How do I show somebody I value them and regard them highly? I always talk positively about them. A great activity here is go, when your kids are all eating dinner, sit there and talk about something that you really appreciated about your spouse. And you guys don't even know this, but when he was in high school, did you know that he got up every morning, Dad got up every morning and did this, 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 and this, and literally build your partner up in front of their children. Esteem them. When you're out on a date with a bunch of friends, say, guess what? He would never say it, but I got great news about him today. This happened, and this happened, and this happened.
See, that makes me smile just thinking about those scenarios.
Well, and imagine the husband that can actually point out the great things. Did you know that my wife painted an entire wall red? Do you know how hard it is to paint a wall red? And she did it, and she's amazing. And we just esteem, we build the value of them, right?
It's a good reminder, and isn't that the person who should be your number one cheerleader?
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
That's right, and the research shows if we are each other's best cheerleaders, guess what? Better marriages with better cheerleading, okay? Number 3, what's the third definition?
I was studying the dictionary this morning. To be fully conscious of.
That's
something. So when you go to the zoo, you become fully conscious and aware of something. That's why, holy cow, the hippopotamus is huge. You didn't think about the hippo and know how important that was. So what if we could become more aware and conscious of our partner? How do we do that? That's the hard one. Cricket.
Well, I think this is the part of the definition of appreciate that's a little bit more vague to us here.
Say it again.
So to be fully conscious of, to be aware of our partner. Now there's some people starving to death because their partner does not appreciate them, meaning you're not present with me. I tell you my stories and your eyes glaze over and you're like, oh my word.
Sorry about that.
I know, you've got to work on that. But like, what if I could actually be present? What if I actually listened to your stories and I consciously tried to force myself to be engaged on them, to lift up and to be interested in it? What if instead of coming home, my wife every day asks me about my day, every single day. I don't ask her about hers. That's not, now I should, right? But I don't think, because I'm not present. But what if I could come in, go get changed or whatever, and get present, and then say, I'm going to talk to Marty about her day, and make it intentional.
I know we talk about this a lot, but to me, my mind goes to technology. Putting away the technology, unplugging, having downtime when you're really just eye to eye, talking and focusing.
The minute you have a second, put your technology away and ask yourself this question: what's the most important thing I can do right now, to appreciate my wife her way? And I'll bet you bucks that you'll get prompted with some idea. And then in that moment, deliver that right now. By the way, that's the power of being in the space right now, right? Last definition.
According to the dictionary, to raise in value, like an investment would appreciate. Is that what this is?
That's exactly. We want to raise in value. We want to increase the value of it. How do you increase the value of another person?
Is it the cheerleading concept again?
This is kind of back to cheerleading, back to building them up. It's also starting to notice the light, starting to notice the stuff that they do that is especially incredible.
What makes them valuable to you?
What makes them valuable to me. And one great way to do this, and this is going to sound a little freaky, but I want you to imagine if you were losing them. If you just came back from the doctor and you realized you're probably going to lose her. Then all this stuff will settle in on you like, oh my heavens, but who's going to be there for the kids? Who's going to say this about this? Who's going to make sure I eat right? Who's going to get me my vitamin? All of these things.
Who's going to paint that wall
Who's going to paint the wall? Who's going to paint it another color because it makes me have
I don't mean to make light of it because that's a serious, I'm sure, self-check and reflection.
Did you notice how the minute we even said it, your head shifts?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden what shifts is you start to focus on truly what their value is. We don't notice the value until we lose the value. So a great activity, and it will throw you, but go and seriously think through, what would my life be like if my wife or husband was diagnosed with something terminal today?
4 different definitions of the word appreciate, 4 different ways that you can do that as well. You've also got a little relationship help for people who might be in need.
This is the coolest thing we're doing. We now have a downloadable audio, an 80-minute audio, basically about how to bring peace back into your relationship, the art of regaining your power and peace. And it's $4. So you can go on. Every month we're bringing out a new audio that's a $4 audio on a specific topic. All you got to do is go to matttownsend.com. $4 for 80 minutes of skills and tools. There's also an accompanying workbook if you want it. That's another $4. But together, if you buy them, it's $7. We're trying to get tools out in your hands for a low price.
Cool. You're doing a good job. Thank you so much.
Thanks, kids. I appreciate you all.
All right. Well.